Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. I'm Investor Boynes with the details. SVG and other parts of the region were for a short period yesterday under a tsunami alert following a magnitude 6.4 earthquake in Puerto Rico. This alert has since been cancelled. However, there were reports this morning of another earthquake, this time in Dominica, measuring a 5.2 magnitude. Director of National Emergency Management Organization NEMO, Michelle Forbes, said while SVG is not under any watch or warning at this time, persons must remain on the alert as earthquakes are a reminder that the region is seismically active and persons always need to be prepared.
We have there no warnings for earthquakes incidents and grenades. So our warning is basically the shaking. So that's when we feel it. So earthquakes can happen at any time. Earthquakes and tsunamis can happen at any time. And most earthquakes, all earthquakes of course are generated by seismic activity or some shaking of the ground. If there's other events happening, maybe landslides, it can actually generate earthquakes also. But the region has been a bit seismically active for the last few years. We have had quite a few earthquakes occurring off Dominica, off Martinique, in and around, just off Venezuela, also near closer to Trinidad, and we therefore must continue our heightened awareness and preparations for any major earthquake event.
Forbes noted that SVG has experienced tsunamis in the past and that they are monitoring the earthquakes which have been taking place across the region.
Yeah, around Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, around those plates, it is one of the regions that can actually generate tsunamis that can impact St. Vincent and Grenadines. We have had earthquakes generating tsunamis in the past. In 1867 in particular, we would have had tsunamis affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines from earthquakes just off U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico area. So it is an area that we continue to monitor because it is one that has a potential for generating tsunamigenic events.
Forbes used the opportunity to remind persons what to do and what not to do in the event that there is an earthquake or tsunami, adding that warnings for tsunamis may not be issued on time.
You will always have a tsunami warning. That may not happen. A tsunami that is generated from what we call a near source earthquake, which means the earthquake is very close to the islands. If the waves are going to come within 30 minutes, it's unlikely that we will have the time to give you a warning, because it takes us 25 minutes to actually get the information from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center whether waves have been actually generated. By that time, the waves will be upon the country. So near source earthquakes and tsunamis, the signs are really, the earthquake is really the sign that you need to move to higher ground, because you may not actually have a warning for tsunami. But for earthquakes, we have to continue our preparation in country. We have to still adhere to the building codes, ensure that we don't have a lot of loose objects hanging around that can fall on you. And if you're if you're out and about, you try to go to an open space, because if a building is falling or shaking, things can fall on you.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Joseph Davy is encouraging Vincentians to ensure that their immune system is intact and to continue to take vitamin C to stave off viral illnesses, which she says have been getting more aggressive. Dr. Davy told our news desk that though there are no new mysterious flu viruses going around, the viral illnesses which have been circulating since mid-last year have been getting worse, and persons need to take all the necessary precautions to fend them off.
A few viruses circulating, and they've been circulating even from mid of 2019. And they're, they're virulent, meaning that they're very aggressive. So what I've found is that people may have a viral illness and in 2 to 3 days they're having bronchitis, because it just makes your immune system go totally to the floor and make you very ill. So it's not mystery, but they're just more aggressive than the past.
Okay.
Well, everything is all about keeping your immune system intact as much as we can. So your vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, you get your good sunlight, proper diet, make sure you have all of your nutrients in there, your carbs, your proteins, all of the vitamins, and that would help with a good immune system. If people are sick, then they should stay home so they don't expose others to whatever they have, be it viral, bacterial, what have you.
Dr. Davy explained the reason why the flu virus has become more aggressive in recent times.
It's just time. The way viruses operate, they're very tiny, very smart. So yes, when they multiply, they change who they are. So our known medications or your known host defense, the body defense, no longer recognize this virus. So it's easy to attack our immune system. They find ways to evade our immune system. And as time goes by, it will get worse. Even the fungus is getting worse. In the past, you just put on the cream and it will work. 2 weeks later, you're fine again. Not so. Now you need 2 or 3 methods to get rid of fungi. So everything is evolving and becoming a whole lot more aggressive. Yeah.
The police here have launched an investigation into the discovery of a human skull at Diamond yesterday. The police say they were alerted to the discovery of the human skull at the incinerator located at the Diamond landfill. The police are seeking the assistance of persons with information relating to this discovery to contact the divisional commander in charge of the South Central Division at telephone number 458-4200 or the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime at telephone number 456-1339 or 457-1211 extension 222 or the officer in charge of CID CRO MCU at 456-1810 or 457-1211 extension 216-220 or any police station in SVG. The police say all information received will be treated confidentially. In an effort to reduce violence and conflict in schools, students of the SVG Community College's Teacher Education Program are the first group to receive training at a restorative practices workshop which started today and finishes tomorrow at the Sunset Shores Hotel. The training is part of the Impact Justice Project carried out in 13 CARICOM countries and is being funded by the Canadian government in collaboration with the University of the West Indies. The Ministry of Education supports the initiative, which Deputy Chief Education Officer Dixon Findley says is needed to address violence and conflict in schools.
People fairly. If you are fair with them and if you ensure that their voices are heard. Sometimes we look at the system and we only think about ourselves. It's all about us, what we want. But it's important as teachers that we look out for the interests of the parents, the students, and the community at large. In schools today, we have many students who are backed in a corner because their voices are not being heard. We don't hear from them, and sometimes when things happen, we start blaming each other. But it's time for us to be proactive, to ensure that what we do is to reduce things like violence in St. Vincent, bullying in schools, and to make St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the education system a better place for all of us.
Finlay told the participants to see themselves as agents of change as they have a critical role to play in putting an end to violence and conflict in schools.
As young and vibrant and aspiring teachers, you are in a crucial position to make that difference. What you do in the classroom can impact not only on justice, but on the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I'm hoping that this workshop will help you to empower you and to ensure that what you do in the classroom and in your communities will benefit St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Director of the SVG Community College, Nigel Scott, says collaboration is important and having training programs on restorative practices can make a difference as teachers and students alike need to understand how disputes can be resolved.
They write what they want to and what they feel like. It means that more and more of our students aren't just experiencing the regular type of bullying, but there's now also cyberbullying. Some of our schools, unfortunately, throughout the region have become like war zones. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. In your own homes and in your own communities, help you to be fashioners of peace and to restore dignity and pride to our communities and to our students. I'm delighted as director of the SVGCC to be a part of the process and to have been able to say, yes, this is something that we can do.
Though the country accomplished a great achievement over the Christmas season of not having to import eggs, President of the Poultry Association Adrian Lewis said that farmers are now faced with a great challenge of having an oversupply of eggs. At a press briefing yesterday, the president said that the oversupply of eggs give customers control of the pricing, which often is not profitable to farmers.
And a lot of the farmers, somewhere along the line, what you're going to have, they call it in economics where you call supply and demand. If you have more things than the people want, somewhere along the line, the customer control. And that's what you see happening with the eggs, the customer control in terms of the cost of the egg on the street. Because all of us who are in this production will know what we're selling this egg at. Some of us not even cutting the cost to produce it. Because I just scenario to a lot of people. 20 years ago, there's a fella, a lot of the new farmers don't know me, a fella by the name of Mr. Murphy. He used to sell his eggs for $15 a flat. The feed at flour mill was $15. Today the feed at flour mill for those who can't buy 100 sack is $33. But yet, the eggs is on the street for $13. And you ask yourself, well, where we at? So we have a challenge on hand.
Lewis said that last year is the worst year he has ever seen, with the lowest price for eggs on the local market, and he believes farmers should come together to organize a suitable price for their eggs to cover their expenses.
We ain't doing nothing. We could get this thing going far. I mean, I've made off of eggs before. This year is the worst year I've seen cost-wise. You see, some people quote 30 and 35. Yes, it's steep, but I'm telling you, from my little check that I've done, if we sell that egg at $15, we hardly make anything. That's the reality. That is numbers that my numbers that I just put together, like my workers, feed. Now feed take a chunk of this thing. Even the crates. When I started, a case of crate was $60. A crate of the dozen box was $60. A crate of this one was $50. Today, you have to have 120. You have to have 135. Now, this is up wall. Mr. Minor sit down there. We team up together and brought a case of these boxes. It costs us to do that. It's serious business. It's a business here for we to fly with. All I'm saying to us today, I hope when we leave here today, we have one thing in mind, one goal. All of us doing eggs, but we need to organize ourselves. That's the only how we can maneuver this thing.
Lewis said, also identifying the problem with the oversupply of eggs on the market, Minister of Agriculture Sabota Caesar contacted him and said that he is willing to assist the association and farmers to get the eggs off the market.
And he says, well, I see you have a problem with eggs and we really need to talk. Well, then I realized, okay, somebody I got listening here somewhere. And we just sit down and he says, look, somewhere along the line I got to help you guys, because you guys did a great accomplishment where we didn't import no eggs at all in the country, which is excellent business for any government, for any country. And then he went on to say, he says, we got to come up with something to get this eggs off the street. We got to call some people. We've been calling people back and forth. But a lot of the people we're calling have the same problem we have. Is that eggs is easy business, people in it. We have to come up with a way and a means so we could deal with it. And for the last 3 days, we were on the road, myself, Desiree, back there, doing checking to see how much eggs on the ground. Because if you're going to do anything, you got to have the statistic to show what you have. And I tell you, I know a lot of the farmers because I know them personally. But what I saw on the ground, I say, we in for a ride. The consumer going to smile all the way, but the farmers going to be drained, and some of us might even fall out along the way.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Agriculture Officer Renato Gums commended farmers for a good job done with egg production and assured them that the Ministry of Agriculture will do everything to sustain the poultry industry and to get them reasonable returns for their produce.
To expend some funds to get to this point. And in fact, the year gone by here, 2019, we had imported 75,600 layer chicks at a cost of $125,000. And, you know, well, with layer chicks, you know, when some just come cock and some when you get 75,000 chicks, maybe, you know, 50% of them might be cock or something like that. But that's the figure we imported. But we were able to do it on time, and the system was well organized, and the hatchery worked well. You know, sometimes we get some challenges with the hatchery. Now going forward, I must say, first of all, let me commend the farming community to get us to this point. Without them, we would not be able to be here sitting down today saying what we are saying. But going forward, we want to be able to sustain the industry and ensure that it's beneficial to both the consumer and the producer. So we want to ensure that the farmer itself receive a reasonable return for their produce.
The prize-giving ceremony for the 2019 Nine Mornings Festival will take place this Saturday, 11th January from 9:30 a.m. at the Peace Memorial Hall. At the ceremony, prizes will be distributed in the various Vinlek community lighting competitions, which also include Best Lit Private House, Best Lit Garden, Best Lit Commercial Building in Kingstown, and Best Nativity Scene. At Saturday's gathering, there will also be the much-anticipated announcements of winners in the following categories: Best Nine Mornings Community, Best Christmas Community, Best Community on Parade, Best Community Song, and Most Popular Local Christmas Song. In results announced already for the 2019 festivities, Point Village took the title for a 7th year in the community lighting competition, with Olivia De Silva of Canaan winning Best Lit Private Home and Best Nativity Scene. The Rosa Recreational Park took the Best Lit Garden title. Addresses at Saturday's prize-giving ceremony will come from Minister of Culture Cecile Mackey, representatives of the major sponsors, the National Lotteries Authority and Vinlek, with a special presentation on 9 nights. The SVG 9 Mornings Committee has hailed 2019 as another successful year with good programs and large attendances by the public across the country, while attracting a significant amount of visitors and returning nationals. 9 Mornings remains unique to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with the festivities being celebrated under the theme, Christmas is We.